Once upon a Tuesday evening, while I scrolled, devoid of meaning, over many quaint and curious volumes of Jujutsu lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there was some yapping, as of someone gently rapping on my Internet Explorer. "'Tis just a website," I muttered, drawing my attention's core. Only this, and nothing more. And here we are. Okay. Yeah, as I said, ScreenRant, not known for their best takes when it comes to actually anything. So I'm very excited to see how they rank this. Spoilers, I already looked at the first paragraph, and they don't actually tell you how they rank the domains. So I have no idea whether they're talking about the relative strength between the users of the domain. So if Dogon clashed with Megumi, he'd beat Megumi, or Mahito would beat Dogon. They don't necessarily say that. So I don't know what they're ranking it based off of. Because if we're ranking it off of characters, it's less about the domain, it's more so about the character, right? Because these characters like Mahito, Dogon, Jogo, their sure hit basically guarantees death. So they would probably be on top of the list. So I think the best way to do it is how long would the average sorcerer last if they got inside of their domain? Let's just start. So Yuki's domain expansion is fine to 13. I would just not even include it on the list because we have no idea what it does. I don't care. Move on. So Dogon's is at the last. Again, this domain almost killed 3 people. This guy had an anti-domain technique. He was splitting his cursed energy between everyone. So it's not like he was affecting all 3, and he still almost killed all of them. So it's a little low. Would the average sorcerer survive in Dogon's domain? I think for a little bit, yes. And I'll expand upon that a little later. But 12 is fine because I don't know what is up next. I don't know what they put on the list. Okay, so this is already bunk as fuck because Yorozu, True Sphere plus domain equals death for every character in the verse. So I don't know how this is in 11. Okay, Deadly Sentencing. So the issue with domains like Deadly Sentencing and Idle Death Gamble are that they don't have harmful sure hits necessarily. Idle Death Gamble's sure hit, for example, is the information dump. And the benefit of the domain hitting is the info dump disorients you a little bit, I guess, and then in the end it can give jackpot to Hikari. And for Deadly Sentencing, you lose your curse technique. So while these are very strong, they're very strong domains, you have a chance against these guys, basically, is what I'm saying. Kashima didn't have a domain, yet even though Hikari was able to, get his jackpot multiple times, he was still almost dead. So their domains are not that strong. So if I see Idle Death Gamble any higher than 9, I might do some bad things to myself. Yeah, I think I'd put these at the bottom, because again, we're doing it based off of you getting hit by the domain. And this, you still will live for a while. You'll probably die, because Higuruma's the GOAT, and same with Hikari. But I don't know how this, where you'll probably live for the next 5 minutes, versus this, where you'll die the instant the domain pops. Same with this one. Again, it's kind of again, this is where all the sure kill domains are placed. Because you get caught by this, you die, right? These guys were going to die if Maki hadn't stepped in. Same thing with Yorozu. Again, I don't know why she's being downplayed. It should be much, much higher than anything. Because these guys still were surviving in the domain for a little bit, right? It's only when they started moving that their cells got, unaligned. And then the projection sorcery was hitting. So, I feel like you could... Okay. Similar thing with this one. Mei was able to break out of the sure hit a few times. But she said that if she tanks too many more stones, it'll, hamper her movements. And she doesn't want to fight Geto in a weakened state. This I would put lower because it's not an instant kill. Even if you get hit by the, rock or the coffin, you do have time to, make a move. You'll probably end up losing because that's just how most, sure kill domains are. But again, you have the average sorcerer probably, they would die, right? But of all the domains so far, this is one of the domains that you'd last longest in, I think. And again, in Yorozu's domain, you die in an instant. In this domain, you don't. So I don't know how this is higher than Yorozu. I'm gonna skip past this because I don't think I need to tell you guys that this is a incomplete domain that doesn't have a sure kill mechanic. All that happens here is, I don't even think it has a sure hit because it's not closed. So instead of, it doesn't even have a sure hit. All that happens is Megumi brings out 120% of his potential. So yeah, you're living, this is the bottom. This is the worst domain, for sure. It's incomplete. I don't know how you could put an incomplete domain at 7. Reggie was fighting him evenly in this guy's domain. I don't know how this is at 7. Above Yorozu! What are you doing? What is this? Holy shit. Okay, Jogo. I'm okay with Jogo being at 6 because his domain kills any, he said, any normal sorcerer. If they, within the moment they're in my domain, they will burn up. So I imagine the sure hit is practically a GG for almost anyone, right? So I don't mind it being this high. I'll have to rearrange the list a little bit, but we'll see. Okay, Death Gamble, again, I talked about it. I would put it lower. Caution was able to go even with Jackpot Hikari, and the actual sure hit isn't lethal, so you probably last longer in this domain than you would this domain. This one might be a little too low. We'll see what 3, 2, and 1 are, but I can already predict what they'll be. The third one is probably going to be Kenjaku. Yeah, it has to be Kenjaku Sukuna Gojo, right? Or like Kenjaku Gojo Sukuna, one or the other. This should be higher. Again, this is Yorozu tier. No other domain, like, I get the timing for these is instant, right? You get hit by the True Sphere, you die. You get hit by Idle Transfiguration, you die. Okay, yeah. Yuki survived this, so I don't think it's an instant death like, you know, had she fought against Mahito and he got his domain off. I would put this lower. Like, this is weaker than Yorozu's domain in terms of the sure hit, right? Because this hit Yuki, she survived. If the True Sphere hit Sukuna, Yorozu was confident that it would kill him. So, you know, let's just say I think killing Sukuna is a bigger feat than not killing Yuki. But again, Tengen did disable the domain, so potentially you could argue that Tengen, you know, stopped the effect, but she had already been hit by it, so I don't know, I'm not sure. Okay, Sukuna, Malevolent Shrine, and then Gojo, right? Yeah. I'm okay with this, but even Gojo is not like a 100% instant death, right? Like, yeah, they're brain dead, but he still has to walk over and, like, rip your head off or something. So, funnily enough, in terms of, like, instant death, it would probably, like, Mahito and Yorozu tied for number 1, because Gojo survived Sukuna slashes. So, it's not like this thing kills everyone, but you have to be strong enough, I guess. So for anyone other than Gojo, it is a one-shot. But so is this one. Like, this domain, Sukuna got hit for 10 seconds, and his brain got fried. So, okay, I'm okay with Gojo at 1. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up a notepad, and I'll write them down real quick. All right, I'm back. Sorry for the bunk-ass, you know, notepad here, but this is how I would rank it. Again, we're going off of the basis that these domains, in this scenario, it's like an average to above-average sorcerer. They don't have a domain counter, so they get hit by these sure hits. Other than that, I don't know how we'd rank these. I don't want to do like, oh, if Hikari fought Dogon, how would it go? Because at that point, like, yeah, Hikari would probably win, right? Maybe that's a video for another day to like actually rank them between sorcerers. But I feel like that has more to do with Hikari than it does the actual domain itself, right? So this is purely on the sure hit activates, what happens? And it is very heavily skewed towards the sure kill domains. But again, this list doesn't tell me how it wants it to be ranked, so I'm just going to do it my way, right? So at the bottom I have Megumi. His is an incomplete domain, and not only that, it doesn't have a sure hit that does anything, and even the benefit that it gives him is outweighed by some of the higher ones, right? Like, Higuruma removes your curse technique, and in the best case scenario for him, he can get a sword that one-shots you. Not exactly fair compared to, oh, I can summon clones and shit. Hikari's thing gives him Jackpot that lets him basically become immortal, right? These are just much more beneficial than this incomplete domain. Again, incomplete. Megumi was struggling to even, like, fight Dogon's domain. Meanwhile, Dogon's being jumped by 3 other people that he has to worry about. Let's just say that this guy is, this isn't the best of domains. Then I put Smallpox under Dogon. I just feel like you'd last longer in Smallpox's domain than you would Dogon's domain. Similarly, Naoya's is probably just a little better than Dogon's, because in Naoya's domain, you kind of just die straight up. You can't move, you can't do anything. But it is a slower death than everything else here. Jogo's is only as high as it is because he does say the average sorcerer would have burned up literally from just being in the domain. If that's true, then the sure hit must be insane. Womb Perfusion is down here because, again, Yuki survived it, and we just don't know much more about it, right? It doesn't seem as instant of a death as top 3, or I guess the top 4. So Mahito's thing is the same as Yorozu's. Once the technique is activated, True Sphere deletes you, Self-Embodiment of Perfection just kills you. I put Malevolent Shrine, even though technically you could survive it longer than maybe these two, but the only person shown to have even stood a chance in the domain so far is Gojo, so it's kind of not fair. And then the same thing with Gojo's, where, like, yeah, the time that you die might be longer. Like, it might take longer for you to die than if you got hit by Mahito's domain. But at the same time, like, the second the thing hits, you are effectively dead. Like, you are at the mercy of Gojo, and he can kill you as fast or as slow as he wants. So I think that's why this would be the strongest one of all the domains in terms of just the lethality of it. But if we want to be like, oh, you could survive it, then I'd put something like this, you know? Which seems kind of crazy to put Gojo's domain at, you know, at number 4. But if we're talking about time it would take on average, it might be lower than some of these other ones. But otherwise, it would just be Gojo's at number 1. Anyway, yeah, this is a pretty bad list. Not gonna lie. Because we have, again, Yorozu at 11. Why? We could apply her technique and domain. Like, is this written by AI? I don't want to be rude, but like, okay, before I just start hating myself, Here it is. I hope you enjoyed. ScreenRant doesn't know what they're talking about. Maybe I'll cover more of their stuff because, I don't know, I feel like anytime I open this website, regardless of the topic, somehow it's incredibly wrong every single time. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I just want to do something more chill this time around. And this just caught my attention, like, immediately. I could not just sit here and be like, oh, this exists. I'm not going to talk about it because I had to. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.